Sound is working. How cool is that? Yep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Well, we want to talk direct marketing today, and we're going to the meetup tonight. Tonight, there's an email going out to Milwaukee area LinkedIn connections as we speak. I believe it launched at 10 o'clock this morning. And so look for that in your email. It's got a click to the event. We've got the back room reserved. The owner took care of us. I might even be getting some "Hello, my name is" stickers, which we haven't used since I resurrected the WDMA in 2016, I think it was. So and maybe you didn't know that, but we could do the history of the WDMA. It was founded in 1986. Bob Stone was our first speaker, and it's a great, great club. It's been around, but its glory days had faded, and I thought there was still a place for it, and now it's the #1 direct marketing association in the world. World Direct Marketing Association, we might have to rename it, because we have more members outside of Wisconsin than in. And we're planning a meetup in early October for the rest of you. But tonight, Elm Grove, details at wdma.org. We expect people from R.R. Donnelly, from Epsilon, from Jockey, and a lot of other great Milwaukee stalwarts like Grant Johnson and Ron Davis. So get over there and join us for a beer. We buy our own beer. That's how we keep going. So anyway, I looked up junk mail cartoons and found this one. Wow, 7,490 new messages. I've got one from somebody I know. That's exactly the way I read my email. I found out that if you click on them, it counts as an open, even though you completely ignore it, you never look at it at all. Last time I had a 24% open rate on my WDMA email, partly because I send myself copies at different emails and I clicked them all. I think that took it from about 10% to about 24%, which just shows you that we have a great list. Anyway, let's go on to some important news, if there is any. Let's look at this. Okay, so GDPR enforcement has been sparse. And this is a funny article, I think. Who would think there would be any humor in the GDPR? But so Europe's General Data Protection Regulation came into force in 2018. And one of the biggest mailers in the UK decided that they would delete all of their customer history and all of their customers and transaction, the scoring and everything that was older than 2017. They took 12-month buyers, kept them. And because they were convinced they weren't even going to be allowed to mail them again because they didn't have a current opt-in. But other direct mail companies banded together and said, we've been doing business like this for 40, 50, 60, 100 years, and the customers like it. And if we would just stop, they wouldn't hear from us. They would think we were out of business, and they wouldn't get the products that they like. And the ICU, what I think is the name of it, ICO. ICU is intensive care unit. Whatever the British official, it's ICO, I believe, said, yeah, that makes sense. And so the rest of them went on and kept mailing, even though the largest cataloger got scared. But GDPR was really aimed at digital advertising and email, the previous cartoon, and was supposed to fundamentally change the way digital advertising works. It was about inappropriate tracking and sharing of data. That's what it was really about. And some publishers, like the WDMA, cut off their content for Europeans. I just deleted all my emails I didn't delete them. I put them in the unsubscribe bin. I wrote to them first before it took effect, and I said, I'm unsubscribing you all unilaterally because according to the rules, they can fine me 4% of my total gross income as a company, even though I've never made a dime from Europe. And I said, that's a stupid way to think, and I'm not going to come and fight with the EU about this. And so, I had a lot of people write me, like Jane over from ECMOD, and she said, oh, please don't delete me. I will behave, and I won't ever file a complaint. And I don't have to and you don't have to expect me to re-opt in. That was another problem. I meet people 10, 12 years ago, we're still friends, but, I don't send them an extra opt-in. And if you miss the day by a day and you send the opt-in, then it becomes a violation, just the ask. So anyway, it was a mess. And so but I kept an eye on it. I think I'm one of the few U.S. marketing people who even cared to mention it. But a lot of publishers kept automatically opting in readers to their ad personalization. Yeah, of course you would. Unless they tell you to stop, unless somebody tells you to stop. And third-party data continued to flow freely through many programmatic pipes. Yes, basically very little changed. It's hard, in fact, to call to mind any landmark rulings relating specifically to digital advertising. There was a $746 million or million euro penalty handed to Amazon, but it's not clear why it was handed down and whether it had anything to do with personalized advertising or just the essentially that advertisers might have access to some of the they might be able to advertise on the basis of transaction history from Amazon. It's not clear what the fine was about. It was more like secret. It was handed out by Luxembourg National Commission, and at the time it was more than double all of the other fines handed out combined, according to Wired. But the violator really didn't reveal what rules Amazon violated. Okay, WhatsApp was fined by Ireland's Data Protection Commission $225 million earlier this month, and it may have an advertising slant, but it's not clear what they were. It's not clear what happened. Again, WhatsApp does not clearly explain how it uses data to its users, and WhatsApp does use data for advertising purposes, although I don't really see it. I use WhatsApp a lot, and we just talk to each other. I don't know. Don't know how they do it. Maybe they give it to Facebook, and then they'll know that I'm sending pictures to or watching pictures of my grandchildren. I have no idea. I actually took time last night to watch. I turned off my premium subscription to YouTube, which my daughter gives me, and I watched the ads, and they're very, very unpersonalized. Very little connection. Some connection to what I'm watching, but very little connection to me. So anyway, personalization is overstated at best. Anyway, the biggest digital advertising fine you could find maybe was $50 million against Google, because they don't give their users enough information about how their data is used. They don't get proper consent, and it's hard to opt out. That's the three things. But $50 million is like what? An hour's worth of revenue for Google or something? But it was a significant symbol. Okay, well, it turns out that the way GDPR is set up is that you come under the Data Protection Authority in whichever EU state their headquarters are based. And because of tax purposes, countries like to go to Ireland or Luxembourg. So get this. So Ireland and Luxembourg advertise that they are corporation friendly. Low corporate taxes, we'll be nice to you, we won't bug you. And oh, by the way, we'll also be the police for GDPR. So we'll kind of leave you alone also. And so they get all the companies. How cool is that? So anyway, the European Parliament this year passed a motion about the lack of enforcement in Ireland and Luxembourg. And so they sanctioned a few companies, but they really didn't tell anybody why. And so that's the state of the EU. So now in reaction to that, a couple of members of the EU Parliament have proposed rules that say you can't personalize advertising at all. And advertising and press around Europe say it would have devastating consequences. But of course, we know that's not true because almost nothing in advertising has devastating consequences. But, especially for small businesses, small and medium-sized enterprises. Yeah, well, the nice thing about small enterprises is they usually market to their geography. So they can use a newspaper ad, they can use a billboard along the highway coming into town. They have to advertise to darn near everybody. And they can shake your hand when you come in the door. I'll never forget buying a suit with my dad, my very first suit. And we went into Snyder's Menswear. And Mr. Snyder said hello to my dad, and my dad introduced me, and I bought suits there for quite a long time until they went under. But that's the kind of personalization that small and medium-sized businesses have. Anyway, this was just a proposal from a couple of crazies, but it just shows you that advertising is always in the crosshairs, not just junk mail. So that said, now we're going to talk how to drive better direct mail performance. Okay, and this is from Summer Gould. I actually talked to Summer on the phone, and we've got an interview scheduled for next week. I had the calendar a little messed up, and so she's going to have a chance to defend herself on what I say about her article. So the first thing I was interested in, I'm getting dings here, and I don't know where they're coming from, but anyway, it's probably WhatsApp telling me I shouldn't talk about them. Direct mail has gone through drastic changes, and I was trying to think of any. I thought of order forms, key codes, fax numbers, return envelopes, and prospecting. But having said that, I started thinking, well, wait a minute. The seed catalogs still have order forms. We maybe have morphed key codes a little bit. We still have tracking codes, but a lot of times we use matchback analysis, which is better than it used to be. So it's, fairly good. My MasterCard bill has a return envelope. A lot of them, they don't pre-stamp them anymore, and maybe that's changed. They used to pay the return address or the return postage. And one of my catalog mailer friends told me just a couple weeks ago that he was prospecting at a profit more than ever and printing hundreds of thousands of business-to-business catalogs. Whoa. So the first question I'm going to ask is, Summer, what has changed? Seems to me Claude Hopkins, scientificadvertising.com, same, get the book, free download, still applies today. Okay, so if you were running out of word count, you could have knocked that whole paragraph out. Now she gets to how to increase your direct mail performance. List. Okay, that's right. List is really important. But she then moves to the more you know about your customers, the better. False. Having a graduate degree in epistemology, I can tell you that most of what you could know about your customers is irrelevant. You could know the number of customers that have only 9 fingers, like Frodo. Or you could know the number of customers that use multicolored nail polish at the same time. Or you could know, I'm not saying it wouldn't matter. It might matter. It might matter for fashion sense. You could know the ring size. Might matter to a jeweler, might not matter to you. How many own a passport? Mattered to fly fishermen, probably doesn't matter to you. It depends. And there's an infinite number of things you could know about your customers, and 99% of them won't matter at all. It isn't better. It just clogs your computer up. In fact, one of the real great lessons we learned early on when we started using data was, don't use the mainframe because, we generate 1,000, 2,000 variables for every customer, no matter what. And why clog up their order processing system with all that? We don't even know. We know half of it. No, 90% of it is worthless. We know that. But sometimes it's not. Like the werewolf variable, right? How many of your customers buy during the full moon? I've had 2 clients that mattered for. 2 clients that had double the average order size for customers that preferred ordering during the full moon. But most of my clients didn't matter a hill of beans. And now you're getting to see why the art is more important than the science in some ways. Okay, it's not the more you know. Exactly. It's sort of the more variety. It's sort of the key indicators. And that's where Mail shines. Mail can help you isolate causal variables. It can give you the actual impact of a variable on your customer file. And until you can do that, you really don't have anything. And you can't do it with Facebook. You can't do it with Google. You don't know who engaged with your ad and didn't buy. You can tell who bought, but you don't know who saw it. And you don't know of those who saw it who engaged with it and who engaged with it and didn't buy. And without that, you don't have a label data set. You can't really do machine learning, which is why 87% of machine learning projects fail. Okay, so you can do a lot of profiling, you can do a lot of things, we can do a lot of testing, but it ultimately comes down to testing. Let the market tell you what the variables matter. It's not the more you know, it's what you know that causes customer behavior. A little more nuanced, I admit. Summer has a word count. She's so nice, too. We're going to have a good talk. Design. Now, I wouldn't put design second. Most experts. I was rereading Dick Shaver's book. This is a great book here. Dick Shaver. He says direct marketing is the best idea that was never implemented. And he's right. Because I lived through that. Most of the people that talked about direct marketing and gave courses and all that didn't know what they were talking about. And then the internet came along, and then everybody was a database marketer, and then everybody was big data and AI and all the rest of it. Anyway, she mentions a couple of design ideas worth the read, but says that, flats have a bigger response rate. Did you know that flats have a bigger response rate, but they cost more? And there's the rub. Almost anything you do can raise your response rate, but at what cost? And what we're always trying to find is that magic balance between costs going up or costs going down and response going up, or whatever it is. The inverse correlation. There's a correlation between cost and response, and we want to find the balance. So that's why we test. And direct mail has the best test matrix of any media. Messaging. Word choice. Word choice is important, but most people would say list, offer, and then creative. And by offer, we mean a lot of things. Summer differentiates the message and the offer, okay? As if we have a headline and maybe an image, and then we have body copy to get you interested, and then we have, buy now, or buy one, get one free, or something that's distinct. But oftentimes, the creative, as that whole body, is one thing. So if you think about it, like David Ogilvy said, incontinence help. If you're advertising to people who are incontinent, maybe put it in there. Liver cleansing, whatever it is. He said, don't be bashful. You don't want to talk to everybody. I once proposed to Mary and Merrill Dow that we use the headline, Cardism users read this ad or drop dead. They declined to test it, but I'm sure it would have generated more names than what they put up. Nevertheless, it was one of the most successful direct marketing campaigns in the history of direct marketing when Cardism was going generic. Okay, so free, always good. This is a free seminar today, free article. If you can give something away free, do it. And it doesn't always have to be free. Sometimes it just seems free. But if you can figure that out, and then she says the next thing is a percentage off. And the higher the percentage off, the more people will respond. Again, but at what cost? You're giving away margin. And always, if you test percentage versus dollar, so if you're selling something for $100, $20 off will outpull 20% off. Because most people don't know how to do percents, especially if it's not $100. It's like $75, okay? So then $15 off or 15%, or rather, like, yeah, I think that's right, 15. No, it's not right. Or 20% off. $15 will still probably win. Anyway, enough. It's a great article. As you know, we're going to be talking to Summer next week, and when that airs, I'm not sure. But check out Summer if you're doing direct mail for sure, because she does have lots of years and lots of experience, and I'm sure it isn't all in this article. Because there wasn't one test result mentioned, and I'm sure she has them. So anyway, I shouldn't tease her because she's been solid on mail the whole time, and there's very few of us like that. So make sure you look her up, give her a call, connect with her on LinkedIn. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. Oops, what did I do to her? I didn't realize I was making her look. Anyway, you know, this stuff is dynamic. You want to do live, it's really hard. Have a great